All right. Hello and welcome to the River Cruising Masterclass. I am so excited because today we are going to be talking about what I consider the best product on the river, which is going to be Tauck River Cruises. Because to be honest, I think they're probably one of the best products out there for touring in general. So for them, when they're on the river, it just makes sense to be number one as well. I wanted to bring on my host, my guest, Jennifer, who works for Tauck, to kind of give us that insider appeal. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Pleasure to be here. Thank you all for watching us today.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just start out with like for someone who's never heard of Taup, because it is a name that is not like crazy out there. What is Tauc and how is it involved in like river cruising?
Okay, so Tauck is a family. It's a family-run company. We're on the fourth generation of the family. And for those of you that haven't heard of us, it's probably because we do very little advertising. We feel if we put more into the experience, then our guests will go, come back, and be so happy they're going to tell somebody else about their experience. And that's really how we've grown since 1925. We've been in business 101 years. So think about that. And I mentioned the fact that we're a family. You can see the image of Arthur Tauck in his Studebaker 1924 when he took his first group. And I feel like it's important to know that we're not beholden to stockholders. We're not publicly traded. When something happens in the world, things do, we always put our guests first. We believe in people before profits always. So think about that when you're considering your next trip, no matter how you go, whether it's a river cruise, land tour, whatever you're doing. Think about what company and the ethos behind the company is that you choose.
Definitely. I mean, I've had clients who've gone on Talc and they talk about how it's just the best experience possible because there is that Talc difference. Not, the fact that it's still family run and it's still within that sort of family is amazing because you don't have to worry about the stockholders and you are focused on the consumer versus anything else. So, what truly is that like the Taup difference? What is that philosophy and those things that kind of keep the brand moving?
Well, first of all, our tour directors are all trained. They're employees. They're knowledgeable. They'll teach your clients about the destination. And on our river cruises, we have a team of 4. So not just a cruise director, but always somebody with the guests. I like to say in river cruising, it's really hard to decide which company to go out with because there's so many and we're all going to the same ports. We all say we're all inclusive. Our boats are all the same sizes on each river. So, it's hard to distinguish the differences, but the tour directors really do make a difference because there's always somebody with our guests. And then when we go sightseeing, we'll break up into even smaller groups. So biggest isn't necessarily best. When we compare our vessels to the other vessels that are out there, the other companies, we have significantly fewer people on board. That allows us to have more suites, bigger cabins, more space per person, meaning when it's activity time, social hour, or something going on in the lounge, every single one of our guests can sit and enjoy what's happening. They're not asked to stay in their cabin and turn on channel 4 because there's not enough space in the lounge. Our guests don't stand in line to wait for the doors to the restaurant to open because we have open seating and we have plenty of extra seats for everybody to sit, however they choose. We include all. Basically, when your clients land at the airport, they don't have to spend a penny till they get back to the airport. And you might say, well, that's like all the other river cruises. Well, with us, it really is. It's whatever you'd like to drink any time of the day, beverages. If you like sparkling, if you like champagne, Veuve
I
Clicquot is our
do.
house champagne.
Thank you for that. I do love a good champagne.
If you like wine, we have Chateauneuf de Pape on board. So your clients can ask you, or you can ask whatever you'd like to. They'll serve a white and a red, and it's good wine. It's good. It's premium liquor. It's whatever it is. All the gratuities are included. All the sightseeing, transfers, regardless of how you get there. You'll be picked up usually in a private vehicle at the beginning of the trip and taken back to the airport at the end of the trip. You don't have to use our air. You can if you choose, but but you don't have to. We just need to know your schedule, and you can do a pre or a post if you'd like to. And it's all those little things, but it's even more than that. We're always, no matter if it's a land program, a small ship cruise program, a river program, we're always focused on finding the best way to see a destination. So that means when we go to Monet's Gardens, we're not there with the crowds. We go before it opens. So it changes the experience. We get to see it the way that Monet saw it and Monet painted it. When we go to Vienna, we go to a private palace where we bring in the Viennese opera and we have this white glove fancy dinner. And, it's an experience that our guests really love. We really love it. I really love it. I did our Montreux to Brussels itinerary last year. We went to the Moorish house to see the girl with the pearl earring, but we didn't just go there. We went there after it closed, which meant there was nobody waiting in line, nobody hurrying us to get through all those amazing portraits. And then we had dinner inside. We also had this itinerary started out on Lake Geneva at the Fairmont. And we had a choice of a glacier exhibit or a Freddie Mercury tour. I love Freddie Mercury, and I don't necessarily like cold or heights. So I chose Freddie Mercury. And it was amazing. And at the very end, we went back to the hotel and we went into a private room and there was a big screen TV and his personal assistant from 1978 to 1991, the last 12 years of his life, was there with us asking him questions for the last hour and a half. So to me, that was something that, you know what, I don't think anybody else does, but that really provided a supreme connection to that itinerary, to Freddie Mercury, to the destination, to all of those things.
Oh my goodness. What an experience. Something so unique though. Like you never would when you're like, I'm just gonna learn about Freddie Mercury, you're, gonna see the sights and sounds, but you actually get the like personalized piece of it. I love that that's what Tauck does. I know that even, if you're out all day, they'll have the if you need to use the restroom, they're gonna give you the euro for it. And for, lunch if you're kind of out and about on a river cruise and you can't go back to the ship. Like those little extra things just make it so nice so you don't have to worry about anything else when you're on board. And I just think that is phenomenal, to be truthfully honest. And you guys have, the bike tours and all that other things that are included, which makes it such a great experience. And I know that because you guys only have 135 people on average versus others that go up to 190 for that same size ship.
We actually have fewer, and most people don't know this. So the capacity of those long vessels is 130, but in our category 1 cabins, there's never a single supplement. So we usually have between 112, never more than 116 on board because
Okay.
that means we have lots of singles that travel and they know, to book early because those cabins always sell out.
Oh, for sure. Another one is I love how you guys use your space because I had a client who did like your loft room where it's similar, where it's on the first level, but it also has a full like French balcony window. And
Mhm.
it's so cool because one of the things that come up a lot is like, oh, someone can look into my room and see me. And with that category of room, which I have not seen anywhere else, you don't have that problem because you technically like step up to view it and you have your room down below. And I thought that was a really cool room type.
Yeah, thank you. That's difficult to explain, and you can't really tell what it looks like until you are in there. But when you're in there, I stayed there. I loved it. It was like you're on top, just gliding along. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I really liked that room. I know we had talked about it and you guys have these exclusive experiences. And one that comes to mind is I have some clients who are doing Oktoberfest and you guys are doing a full Oktoberfest experience. But not only that, you guys are getting them the exclusive like Lederhosens and putting in that full experience. And when I tell you I want to be in their suitcase, you have no idea.
Yeah, it's a super popular itinerary, and unfortunately, it only happens during, a
Yeah.
particular time of year in September. So we only have, I think, 2 departures every year.
But I love that you guys, do those after access, the private excursions, the exclusive way so that you can truly experience a destination
Yeah.
without having to feel like you're on a tour. Because when it's only, the 30 to 40 people on a normal or a small group is, 20 and or for that exclusive experience, it feels like it because you're not there with thousands of other people throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. And, when we go sightseeing, we usually have 15 or 20 guests per local guide, which makes it very easy. In
Yeah.
all of our guests, of course, we want them to all to see and hear and engage with the local guide. So it's not a massive group of 40 or 50, it's nice and easy and very manageable for everybody.
And I think that because you have the land portion, you have the 100 years of experience, so you have those trusted local guides and the more, experienced ones that can kinda give you those fun, interesting pieces of history when you're there.
Yeah, I agree. And all the tour directors, they're all trained before they take out their first itinerary, their first new itinerary. They do two complete training tours, so they go through the same itinerary twice, so they know the people in the restaurants and the people in the hotels, and they know the people on board, and everything's down to a science, pretty much.
Well, now that when you think about that, it reminds me of you guys also do daily guides with, like, restaurant recommendations and,
Mm.
those fun facts that you don't get on the other cruise lines, that it's very fun to kinda have those pieces to make you feel more connected to every location that you're going to, and I'm assuming that that's something that the tour guides, your, cruise managers put together based on their, like, knowledge of the area, so it's not
Mhm.
the cookie cutter recommendations as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. How would you describe just like the onboard experience? I know we've kind of covered a little bit of it, but what do you consider that experience to look like for Tauk and kind of how it looks for that client?
I'd say it's relaxed, and then I feel like it's relaxed because people aren't crowded. I mentioned the restaurant, so there's plenty of seating in the restaurant. Everybody can sit at the same time, but we also have a second restaurant. It's always called Arthur's, and it's like a cafe. There's a chef there from 10 in the morning till 10 in the evening. So if you'd like to go down and have a salad at 11 in the morning, that might be me. And have a burger at 9 at night, you can do that. Or you want to have two different lunches, you can do that. You can go to the main restaurant, go to Arthur's, it's easy. There's plenty of space on the top deck. There's just like I said, I've been on a couple competitive riverboats, and I know when they had functions in, the space where everybody gathers, which is the lounge, they were crowded, and ours isn't. Ours, there's plenty of space to sit. There's plenty of space for everybody to sit there and watch the entertainment, and enjoy really what they came there for.
Which is honestly the destination, right? Just to
Yeah.
truly experience and be in those ports, and you guys do a great job. Another thing that I think that, Tauk does, which is new and emerging, but definitely, where you guys are set above is your multi-generational travel. Not only in land, but on river, because you guys have brought through the bridges, and I have heard some amazing things. I will tell you that I also know that you guys did a Taylor Swift one, which a river cruise, where
Yeah.
you, like, literally had all of the clients go to a Taylor Swift concert, had a I know that's not gonna be the normal, so not
In
everyone
Munich.
expects
Yeah.
it, but I thought it was so cool how you guys just really bring all of these things together because it was a way for, like, families to connect. But on general, what do those bridges trips look like?
Bridges is our family program, like you said. It's all about bridging the three generations: parents, grandparents, and kids. And every single river cruise that we have that's a Bridges departure is just multi generational. We don't have adults that don't want to be with kids and then half kids, or half families. No, it's all families. And kids love it. It's so good because they're engaged. Again, like instead of just going through the Louvre, we do a scavenger hunt through the Louvre. We fly kites from the sun deck. I took my nephews on the Rhone, and the first day we had a choice of a bike ride or a bus ride around Paris. So we did the bikes, and we lived, and then we went right up in the Eiffel Tower. We didn't have to wait. We had lunch in the Eiffel Tower. It was pretty special. And then that night we had a welcome dinner, and we had a mentalist come, and he read our minds. He read everybody's minds. I don't know if we were more impressed with him than the kids or not, but he was really something else. His name was Bert, and we'll never forget Bert. The tour directors are really integral to, the enjoyment of the guests. And they told the kids that if they participated in the day's events, then they would get a croissant, which is actually a piece of paper with a croissant on it. So one day they had this, it was after lunch. It was like a fun thing it was a buffet in the lounge with escargot, foie gras, frog's legs. The kids were like, holding their noses, but they
Yeah.
knew they had to collect their croissant. And they didn't know why they were collecting them, but they didn't want one of the other kids to have more than they had. At the end of the trip, they ended up trading in their croissants. If they had enough, they could use them like to buy a t-shirt or to buy a hat or something, some
Fun.
kind of fun souvenir. So yeah, it was really fun. The kids had a ball. They met lots of other kids from all around the country and they bonded and we all had a good time. When the kids are having fun and we're not having to plan anything, and we're all doing the same sightseeing together, it's just super enjoyable. So if anybody is interested in doing something that, you know what, you're just relaxed, you're in the moment, you're enjoying the people that you want to be with, and you're seeing these really amazing destinations, it's a really good thing to do if you can.
And what is the age group that you really recommend for the kids for
The
bridges?
kids, the average age is 13, but we had older kids, and of course we had younger kids. So average age is 13. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a minimum age for the Tauck River Cruises or
They have to be potty trained.
okay. Okay. So that's I mean that's a very all right. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love the idea of that and just being able to connect with the family and it's nice cuz the kids can do their activities and you can enjoy it and still learn more and it makes it so that you don't have to worry about them being bored as well.
That's for sure.
And then on that same thing, you guys have introduced a new program called Rome, right? And it's a mix of both land and then I know there are some river cruises is for like the Douro River, but what is that program for?
ROAM, Rome by Tauck. Rome by Tauck is geared towards people who are in their 40s and 50s. It's a little more relaxed than our classic itineraries. There's a big focus on the culinary, on the wine, and it's small groups and much more physically active. So this year we have 5 itineraries, and next year we'll open up an additional 7 itineraries.
Nice. So
Mhm.
I also know that with that one, it has a lot more like tours to pick from. So you have a day activity, but even on the land portion, you're like, here are these three really cool ones, like cooking with a Michelin chef or like doing a make your own wine. So it's very much more focused on that piece of it versus the traditional what people think touring looks like. And it breaks up smaller that way, right?
You are so well versed. And that's why, people out there should really think about giving Sydney a call because she is so educated. She knows the best products to offer you. So you'll have the vacation that meets your expectations. But yes, exactly. That's how it is. We have somebody that's dedicated to taking care of the guests and there's choices whether our guests want to go kayaking or they want to go for a hike or they want to sit back and do nothing or do yoga. There's plenty of choices for them.
That's good. I know. I'm excited about all of these programs because I've noticed in today's travel world is we are now breaking our boxes smaller into what people consider to be a great vacation because everyone wants different things. And so, for the ability for us to kind of be able to cater to everyone means creating different things. Because we don't, because cookie cutter, well, is not the way Tauk does things to begin with. But by building these different programs out, I think it's a great way to just elevate the experience for each client.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice to go with other people because you get to meet, people that are like you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, the differences and not feeling like you're on a guided tour. Well, one of the days on Rome in our Bordeaux itinerary in the Dordogne, we have a private car and driver. So you and your companion can just go wherever you'd like to go. You can tell, he can arrange the day or you can tell him where you'd like to go. But there's things like that, components that are always in, but so different. So you don't feel like you're with people, but when you do get together for a meal or for wine tasting or something, then you have that camaraderie to, meet the other people that are there.
Yeah. No, And that's one of the things that I do like about guided or, like, even river cruising. Every river cruise I go on, I meet someone new and exciting that I never, met before. There's this couple on my last river cruise who were from Minnesota, and these huge Minnesota Vikings fans. They have, like, tickets, they talked about that. They were so cute. They own a dentistry, and so anyways, but, and then you meet them and you follow them on Facebook and you're like, where are we going next year?" And so you really just build this new network of how to, meet people and to build it. And I have some clients who go on Tauck and they've met someone and they're like, "Well, we're doing our trip with Tauck with this new couple that we met on our last trip because we were able to just build that relationship with them." And I think that's so fun and such a great way to be with people that you know, but also to meet new people. And you have a lot of solos on board, so that kind of builds that camaraderie as well.
Absolutely. I've been with Tauck for a long time, and I've seen people get married after they met on a Tauck tour. I've seen a lot of single people travel together year after year after year after they met on Tauck tours. So, yeah, I'm not saying that if you go, you're going to find your husband, but you
Jennifer, don't
might. Who
tease me
knows?
like that. I was like, "Are we
Yeah.
doing a singles cruise? 'Cause sign
Yeah.
me up, okay? Let's get some mint." No, I'm kidding. So, when someone is considering, like, a river cruise, what do you consider, like, Talc should be on the short list no matter what, but what are those, like, key things that you think are the what elevate that Talc brand to be that pick for someone? Or what would you consider as your key points?
I would absolutely say our excursions. We call our boats the destination vessels. Yes, we know they're comfortable. We know there's a great staff on board. The food's going to be good and locally sourced, but it's absolutely, we're always looking for the best way to show you the destination. And really that's our focus. So it's about those after hours and before hours and, going into the Delft Museum before it opens and the Rembrandt House before it opens and the private palace or going to Chateau Busy after hours and have an amazing dinner there by candlelight. It's a French chateau. So you have these experiences that you just can't get on your own. And you do feel a bit spoiled when we have like hotels before and after, like we do Prague to Budapest and we stay at the Fairmont and you're just like, it's just such a great hotel. It's in the perfect location and it's a great hotel. So again, you feel like you're spoiled.
I had someone on that exact itinerary, and that's exactly how they felt, to be truthfully honest.
That's-
And that's such a great way to put Taup because it is so much about those exclusive. I'm glad you started talking about the after hours because all these early mornings, I'm not a morning person, Jennifer.
There's a
Uh,
lot of after hours.
yeah. Okay, good. Because there's only so many mornings I can do, okay?
Yeah, there's more after hours than early mornings, trust me.
I did Egypt and everything is like a 6 a.m. wake up call.
Yeah, all those flights.
Yes, but, because they wanna do all of the destinations before the crowds get there, it's very much like, we're out the door at 7 so you can be the first ones at the temples, which it's worth it,
Yeah,
but I needed a vacation from my vacation on that one.
yeah, yeah, we try not to do that to our guests. Yeah.
And then I know that you guys have been introducing some new cruise ships. What is something new and exciting with your guys' river program for this year and beyond?
All right, so we just built 2 new vessels. They are both operating in France. One is on the Seine and one is on the Rhone. They're about 120 guests each, and they're very nicely appointed. The major difference with those vessels are a couple things. One, there's a big pool on the top deck, and there's 12 Category 1 cabins that are accommodate singles, and they are 180 square feet.
Wow,
So
that's huge.
they're large. They're larger than our traditional ones. The bathrooms are larger. The bathrooms on the other ones aren't small, but they're not tiny, but they're not huge.
There's only
Anyway,
so
these
much space, Jennifer,
right,
we have to
on a
take the
riverboat,
wins.
exactly, right, but these are nice, these are actually very nice, so that was new for this year, so those are operating now, and then next year we'll have a brand new vessel on the Douro, so we have one at the moment, so this will be a second one. They're both 84 guest maximum, very, trendy, it's like, Portuguese-inspired, decor, and I just love them, that I think everybody loves those 2 little boats. and then some new itineraries. So this year, our newest itinerary is 3 nights in Bordeaux. Then we take the TGV up to Paris and we cruise on the Seine. And then next year, we'll have two new itineraries on the Douro, one with a couple nights in Porto before the cruise, and then one with, I think, 3 nights in Madrid before the cruise. The other three new itineraries are shoulder season. I believe they're March and April, and then again in October, November, and they're called the essence of the Douro, the essence of the Danube, and the essence of the Seine. They're five nights, so
Oh,
6
5 nights is
days.
nice.
Yeah, so they're shorter. They don't include land components, and the lead-in price is less than $3,000. So if you think about that, all you have to do is pay for your air, and if you choose to get the insurance or not, up to you. But otherwise, everything else is included. So it's not a huge expense, and it's a great way to experience a Tauck River cruise and see if you like it and want to come back.
And not to toot my own horn, but I know that with a travel advisor for a first time that clients do get the gift of time, which is 1 free night hotel, either pre or post. I always recommend pre. But that's also a great way to experience this and have that flexibility, because that's usually mostly for, past guests, and so you can kind of use that as well.
Yes, because you're offering this today, this podcast. For the next month, we'll offer our guests or whoever comes to see you, Sydney, to book a trip, a complimentary night, either pre or post. It's always subject to availability, but if you're booking now for 27, you probably will not have an issue. 26, maybe a different
Yeah.
story. But, because the inventory is waning for sure for
Yeah.
26.
I was gonna say, with Talc, it's always book immediately. I had a client who has something booked for 28. It was like the Vietnam and Cambodia. It has a little river cruise in it, but they were like, it was brand new offered. I want this exact room. And, because your guys' trips are legendary and they book quickly for that reason, and so they're super great. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, Jennifer. I think I'm so excited for everyone to listen and kind of learn about you guys. I know that I've been on one and it is a phenomenal experience. And as you said, those exclusive accesses, those little touches really make a difference if that's what you're looking for. If you're wanting to get on a trip and have everything handled for you, Tauk is the way to go. And there's just no question about it.
It was my pleasure, Sydney. Thank you so much. What I like to say about river cruising is there's good, better, and best. You can drive the Camry. The Civic, that might suit you best. You might go for the Camry, or you might step it up and go for the Lexus. And once you go for the Lexus, you might not want to go back to the Camry or to the Civic. But once you do that, you'll say, okay, now I get it. There's value in that equation if we have such a high repeat number of guests, and our guests do. They come back again and again and again.
Yeah. No, I literally my clients who I have that are tout very rarely do anything else. Not to talk bad about someone else, but I did have one of them go on a Viking ocean cruise, and they were like, it's hard to go from Tauk to that just because of how many people are on the tours, and it's just a completely different experience. Because with your, Tauk Ocean, you guys rent out the super small ships that have,
Mhm.
500 less, less
Yeah.
people, usually the Panats, which are like 300, and so it is a truly different experience, and, you know, as it is, you get what you pay for. I always have clients who wanna step up to business class for the first time, and I feel like it's very much that same thing where it's like
Mhm.
once you do it, you can't go back to economy. I've always thought, like,
That's right.
just be prepared to pay for it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I unfortunately am too young to have that taste, and I have done business class, and then on my last trip, I had to do economy, and it was hard, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Yeah.
But thank you so much, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate that, and so I can't wait, to continue selling and, just experiencing Tao because it is definitely one of those unique experiences.
Well, thank you, Sydney, and thank you all for paying attention. And if you have any questions, just let Sydney know because she has a direct connection to me and we can figure it out. Thank you.
Exactly. Alright, have a good day.
You too. Thank you.